Thanks, guys, for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks for Stellar Labs to providing the space. And thank you to the Million Cops crew for allowing entrepreneurs to connect. You guys are all entrepreneurs. You're all studying, trying to, branch out there. As far as entrepreneurship goes, that's sort of what I embody through my entire life. I came in this country. Well, first let's go to talk about this. The time is ripe to breathe new life into Athens, right? Into old Athens. We see a lot of Athens. It's beautiful, but there's a lot of parts of it that are distressed, maintenance deferred, derelict, right? And we feel that, and we sort of want to change that up. Let's see. I came in this country back in 1996. My father's an entrepreneur. He had his own act. We did trick riding. It's, for those of you who are not familiar, it's acrobatic on horses. That's what I used to do. I used to drag behind a horse and then stand up, and that was my only thing. Right. Because of working with horses, everywhere I go, people always try to tell me jokes about horses. And one of the first jokes that I ever heard when I came here, I barely spoke English, and this good old boy up in Athens, Georgia, he comes out and he goes, "Hey man, I got a joke for you." This is my best Southern accent, by the way. I was like, "All right." He's like, "Well, you ain't offended by no dirty joke, right?" I was like, "Oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm not offended by dirty jokes. Nope. He's like, "All right, white horse fell into the mud puddle." That's a dirty joke for y'all. Think about it. So I kind of had the same look, especially since, third language. I don't know. So I toured around all over North America. We went to Canada. We went all over the place. We came here in '96 during the Olympics. And actually, if you know where Hotel Indigo that's where there was a middle school there. And the show kind of happened right there in front of that middle school in a parking lot, right? So if you were here, probably not. Then you might have saw the show. Well, then we toured. I decided, I was like, look, enough. I know how to do the trick riding stuff. Let me learn something, I went to UGA, decided to go to school. Told my dad, I was like, I'm leaving. I'm no longer performing. He's like, "Oh yeah, where are you going?" I was like, "Athens, Georgia. I'm going to UGA." He's like, "You got in?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And that's how you lie to your father in order to go pursue your dreams. Well, in Russian culture, you can't lie to your father and not actually do what you said. So I left and I went to UGA, somehow got in, graduated, I think at some point. They told me I did. While I was doing this whole UGA thing and being in Athens, I found my first passion, and it was mixed martial arts. And I became a professional fighter, and then I started coaching mixed martial arts. Still do it here in Athens, Georgia. The gym is now called Straight Blast Gym. Back in those days, it was called the Hardcore Gym. And I don't know if you guys know the show, The Ultimate Fighter. Back then, Forrest Griffin was a local boy who won the Ultimate Fighter. We did that thing. I met Mike Tyson. It was fun. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I graduated UGA. While this was going on, I'm fighting every day. I'm going to school, entrepreneurship all the way, right? Trying to make the ends meet. Graduated. Then I decided, hey, I see Athens. I love Athens. I want to improve Athens. This is going to be my home. I decided this is going to be my home. I wasn't born here. I didn't come here because I had to. I wanted to come here. I had friends, and I decided this was going to be my home. So as I saw that, I was like, well, how do I make my home better? And I figured building. Building is where it's at. My buddy was a builder. Been doing it, builds in England since he was a little toddler, or a wee boy, as they say. So we opened a construction company, and we actually started doing very specific type construction. We did custom project right there. That's inside of an artist's studio, and we built that thing from the ground up. It's got three floors now. Let's see here. The slides. Oh yeah. While I was doing that, I found another passion. I became an actor. Really love acting. I love performing. In fact, the reason I started fighting is so I could be in front of people. And that, lasts only about 3 seconds when they raise your hand. And if they don't raise your hand, that feeling is awful. So I was like, you know what? Let me not get beat up in the face and, still be in front of people. So I became an actor. And actually in 2018, I landed my first 3 episodes and actual TV shows. That was the first one. That's the only one I can talk about because it's out. MacGyver, third season, first episode, got cut out. Don't worry about it. Don't look at it. IMDb, though, check that out. It sounds really good. You know, I was there. I did it. This is my partner, Alex Smith. Him and I started Ripe Time Realty. The time is ripe, right? We started Ripe Time Realty about 3 years ago. And the reason we started is because as I was fixing and flipping and doing construction, I saw the money, right? If you're an entrepreneur, at some point you're going to start thinking, where is the money? To me, it was in construction. I saw it. I saw people buy a house for 40 grand. I worked on it, so I know how much money they put into it, and then they sold it for 120. And I was like, ho. So at that time, I met my buddy Alex. He's also a professional fighter in Athens, Georgia. And we decided, he actually fell into renting. He's a young guy, probably around your age, 23, 24, I think now. And he decided that he was gonna, instead of renting, he was gonna buy. And then he's gonna take his buddies and he's gonna put them in there and they're gonna pay for his rent. And he did that successfully without anybody actually telling him how to. And he saw the light. He's like, oh my God, this is awesome. I'm not paying, I'm owning a house, and I'm actually getting a little cash at the end. Ooh, need to get into this. So at that time, I'm sure you guys heard Fortune Builders. If you haven't, you will. They come around here all the time. It's a big event that they invite you. You go, it's a day event, and they invite you to a different event, a 3-day event, and they drill you and they tell you that you can buy a house, flip it with no money down, no credit, no experience, nothing necessary. Well, I guess I'm slower than the average population because I wasn't able to implement the no money down, no credit, no nothing, and you can do it. However, I like the idea. And Alex and I actually standing in our, by the side of our first duplex purchase. I'm going to give you a little insight. Well, oh wait, as we're doing this, I decided to become a real estate agent because if you're going to do plumbing, you need a wrench. That's my wrench. We're moving on. We may be moving on. We are moving on now. Now, this is our duplex purchase. Inside, they had wall heaters burning, no HVAC, no nothing. We had derelict floors. The subflooring in the bathroom was collapsed. The toilets were broken. Every time you sit down, the toilet leaned forward. Let's see. The windows were terrible. That's what happened after we did that room, right? So that's the renovation before-after picture. I figured that way it kind of makes more sense. That's the kitchen. That's the bathroom. That's not the kitchen, in case you were wondering. That's the bathroom now. That's the living room. That's the living room now. So that's the kitchen. Ha! I got it. I did have a kitchen picture in there. And that's the kitchen and the living room all together. So that's sort of what we do. When we put this guy on the market, we actually decided to keep it as a rental. That's what it used to be. That's how it looks now. Right? We put it on the market as a rental. We don't manage our own properties just because we try to flip. That's what we do. But we hired a company called Athena Management. They manage over 200 property locally, Athens, Georgia. When the lady came in, she's been in business for over 40 years. She saw that duplex and she said, oh my God, you guys actually flip houses. We said, yeah, we do. So we flipped it. We are Ripe Time Realty. That's what we do. We buy properties and we flip them. That's kind of us. If you want to see my videos, my story, we don't try to tell you buy. We kind of just make fun of ourselves. Facebook, Ripe Time Realty. You can find me videos, anything like that. We change neighborhoods, guys. We decided that, you know, you can go through life saying, I want change, I want change, I want change. Or you can try and actually accomplish physical change. Because once physical change happens, metaphoric change happens as well. Communities change by sight. If you come in and there's nothing but ugly houses, nobody wants to go there, right? You don't want to live there. Nice people don't want to go there. Real estate agents don't want to sell houses there. So what happens? Nothing but riffraff moves in, and then you have a bad neighborhood, right? Well, how do you change those neighborhoods? You move into that neighborhood and you start changing those houses. And that's where you guys come in. You know where you are. You know where you live. I bet you right now you can think either a neighborhood that you live in or somebody's friend's neighborhood or something like that. You can go there and you know that one house that you're thinking of that is sitting there and is just making a blight on the entire neighborhood. If you want to help this community, contact us. Tell us the address. If you know the owner and you can put us in touch with the owner, hey, let us know. We will help them out by taking the property off their hands. Stop paying taxes, stop doing all that, stop getting notices every single week about, hey, your trash is bad, you have a lot of grass. Stop. Give it to us. Let us flip it. Let us change the neighborhood, make it safer for kids to play in so the riffraff doesn't move in, and so your neighbors and their house values go up. That's it.
This a lot last night. I was watching Chip and Joanna games.
Ooh, all right. Yes, yeah, competition.
So. All right.
Well, I'm theirs. They're not mine.
Got it. We would love to hear some questions from the audience for George.
Easy ones, guys. Easy ones. All right. I'm not prepared. Go ahead.
Be nurturing.
How often do you run into, I guess, problems with, or not problems, but impediments in local government for getting permits, zoning stuff? Is that a common problem for you?
Not so far. Well, again, we haven't done a lot of rehabs yet. So the rehabs that we have done, they weren't permit needed. So you didn't have to necessarily pull because we weren't doing major outside renovation or moving walls or pouring slabs. So far we're okay. I believe Kelly Gertz is actually the new mayor. He's actually really pro investment and pro real estate, and he's trying to help the community kind of get rid of those blights in the neighborhood. So he's actually pro flips, I guess.
Other questions?
Go ahead.
Do you have a particular neighborhood that you're focusing on?
We don't. So we don't do particular. We basically much, because our biggest problem is property acquisition. It's hard for us to find it. We have money, we want to buy it. Finding the properties that are actually reasonably priced is difficult. So we'll pretty much go anywhere in Athens and actually 2 miles out of Athens, surrounding area. So we will go to Winterville, we will go to Watkinsville, Arnoldsville, Lexington, all of those little towns, and we'll do it there as well. Go ahead. We don't buy rent ready necessarily because again the margins there are higher. You're looking at cap rates that are probably 4 to 5%, which we're not really looking for. And again, our mission statement is change the neighborhood. So if it's already rent ready, then there are other investors that are already ready for that. And we do work with a lot of investors who are looking for turnkey, is what we call it, rent ready. We'll put those guys in touch with those properties, but for as far as we go, we don't like them. Anybody else?
What's your plan for growth in the next? You've been Ripe Time Realty for what, 3 years?
3 years, yep.
So what's next for Ripe Time?
So Ripe Time is going to stay Ripe Time. We're going to continue try to acquire properties. We would like to do 12 properties a year this year. That is a big goal. All right, so we're going basically from 1 property to 12 properties, and everybody's like, well, George, why don't you be a little bit realistic? Well, I'm a Russian. When you say be a little bit realistic, that means we buy 2 properties next year. Well, if I continue in that train of thought, like, well, I did 1 property, that means that I can do 2, and I know that. Well, then I don't think my business is ever going to grow. I've got partners, they want to go up. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to put up a lofty goal, 12, and we're going to work our butts off and see how we hit it. If we can hit close to it, then great. If not, then next year is 12 again. That's the goal. And until we hit 12 that year, it's going to be 12. It's going to be 12. It's going to be 12. It's not the 40. You know, everything is 40. It's not that question to all things, but it's 12.
The answer is 12. Yeah.
Are you only primarily looking at residential, or are you also looking at commercial?
We like commercial. Now, commercial, depending on where you're going, anything up to a quadruplex, it's residential. Anything above that, it starts to be considered commercial. We like multi-families. Anything about a quad or duplex, we like them. They rent well. This town has a lot of them that need rehab because a lot of the institutional investors, they move in, they buy them, they kind of squeeze the juice out of it, make some money, and then they buy a bigger piece of property, allowing the next purchaser to kind of do the rehab. So we like commercial and getting into those because we think like they need a lot of the equity built in. We like commercial even better. The triple net, I mean, come on, like that, those numbers don't lie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the triple net. Look it up if you're not. I don't think we got that much time to explain it. But it's a great neighborhood. I don't think we're big enough to bite commercial yet. However, I'd love to syndicate something like that. Go ahead.
Are you still personally fixing up these properties, or do you contract it out?
That's a great question. So we took a bunch of education. Remember, Fortune Builders? They're not good for nothing, but they are an extremely well organized educational company. So if you want to get through all of these kind of little, not knowing is the worse than knowing, right? If you want to get through all of that, I would recommend to spend some money and educate yourself. So what was the question?
You contract out your work.
So we don't. Because of that education, when I first started, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it on my own. Fortune Builder was like, look, that's not scalable. How many can you flip if you have a day job? Because I do have a day job. I'm a realtor. So if you have a day job, how many can you flip while still holding the day job? So we immediately from the get-go decided we will contract the flips out. This way we can put our systems in, find a crew, because one of the hardest things is boots on the ground. Your team has to be solid if you actually want to do more than 1 or 2 properties a year, right? So we decided to go ahead and build that team from our first purchase. This way, by the time we have 3, 4, 5 a year, we know who our people is. So no, we don't do our own. Sorry for forgetting the question there in the middle.
George, what's the best way that you find out about these homes? Like, where are you getting most of your home referrals? Because you said that property acquisition is the biggest challenge
Right.
for you.
Okay, so you have different ways, right? So there are lists you can buy. You can buy lists such as pre-foreclosure lists, and then you can call them. Well, the problem with things that you can purchase like lists is that most institutional investments are purchasing those lists, and their pockets are so much deeper for advertisement that they can get ahead of us. So we have to think a little bit different. We've tried the direct mail campaigns and all of that. Again, with our budget, that becomes harder. And also, the direct mail is now, you're just hoping for a phone call, right? After that phone call, now you have to establish a relationship because people sell to those who they trust, right? So our main focus has been basically calling people. And what we do is we call for sale by owners. For sale by owners that has been sitting on Zillow, Realtor.com, or any other website like that, as for sale by owner website as well. We call those guys, and if they've been sitting on the market for a couple of months, 3, 4, 5 months, the property is in bad shape, we call, we try to get a conversation established, and then we offer based on our numbers. Now, a lot of that stuff is, people think that we're trying to cheat them. We're not. We're trying to explain to them that you purchased a piece of property, you held on to it for 30 years, you did no maintenance. Like a car, if you didn't do maintenance on your car for 30 years, such as oil, gas, anything else, how long do you think you're going to drive it for? Right, as soon as the gas tank is empty, it stops and it's not going anymore. Same thing with a house. If you don't put any kind of work to it as you own it, you're never going to get it to look perfect. So by the time you sell it, now you think that your house is valued at $180,000 minus the 30 years of deferred maintenance that you decided not to put in. You have to lose that somewhere. Either you're going to lose it as you go or you lose it at the end, right? So the way we try to find properties, we do phone calls. We call all the time. We try to get people to answer those phone calls and have a conversation about their needs. Because most of the time when we picked up a derelict property or a distressed property, it's because it's an unwanted property. Now, most people go, what? Unwanted? That's not true. Like, that's impossible. How can you have an unwanted property? It's a house. Why wouldn't I want it? Some people don't. People that live, say, in Chicago inherited a property in Athens, Georgia, never been to Athens, Georgia, don't know what the property look like. Now they have to pay taxes for it. They don't want that property. They don't want to deal with it. That's the people that we try to help. So when we call and when we try to find out, we try to solve a need. But our biggest acquisition happens from people that know us. If they know us, if they trust us, and they're sitting with somebody at church and the guy is like, man, I have this multifamily, I've been trying to figure it out, I hate it, I don't want it. When that guy turns to him, he's like, oh man, let me have your contact information. I have the right time people for you. Right time will help you out, man. That's the connection. That's the acquisition of property. Because that connection, that personal pass-through is what we need. Because let's face it, there are hundreds of flippers. Hundreds. In this town, maybe even more. There's institutional investments that are changing this town, and they're taking the control of that change away from all of us, and they're doing it in their image, in their hometown's image. We're trying to stay here and build this town in our image. Go ahead.
If there's anything beyond that that the community can do for you, what would it be?
So we are terrible at doing everything. And currently, as all of you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you do everything. You're the CEO, you're the sweeper, you're the website builder, which we don't know how to do that. Now, I've been trying to figure out a website for a minute. I just need somebody just like put the copy there, take it, I do a form for me out there and be done. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. Every time I ask somebody about a website, it's always like $5,000. And I'm like, oh my God, later, I don't need a website, I got a card. It's in my pocket.
So what I'm hearing is you need like a minimum landing page.
Minimum landing, like not even hard stuff, you know what I mean?
Guys, I see some volunteers. I love that. Wait, that's like a miracle clap for that.
But,
We're gonna get George a website.
And Jacqueline is another person that you should hear from. She's a master at branding, and like you guys, if you need a brand, that's the person you want to talk to right after this.
Awesome.
I'm telling you.
Awesome. This is awesome. Well, thank you so
All right.
much, George.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your wonderful questions.